Hi, I'm Kristen, and today I'll be sharing my favorite videos from today's federal release of UAP and UFO videos. So today is May 8th, 2026, and the American federal government disclosed a bunch of different PDFs and video files related to UFOs and UAPs. So to get into the actual details of what this release was, it's titled The Presidential Unsealing and Reporting System for UAP Encounters, aka PURSUE. So because this is all about UAP encounters, there was no information disclosed today specifically about aliens or non-human intelligence, to my knowledge. So I've gone through all of the videos that were released today, but I have not dug into the PDF files yet. So once I get into those, maybe I'll see something. But as it stands right now, this is explicitly just about UAPs. So Trump directed the Secretary of War and all relevant departments to release information on extraterrestrial life, aliens, UAPs, and UFOs on February 19th, 2026. So this is a pretty short turnaround from the time that that order was given and the public actually receiving actual hard data, hard videos, real evidence of the fact that UFOs and UAPs are out there. So before I start digging into kind of what people are really talking about on the internet, what my favorite videos were, I would like to just kind of read through Secretary of War Pete Hegseth's statement that he put out today related to this release. Okay, so he said, the Department of War is in lockstep with President Trump to bring unprecedented transparency regarding our government's understanding of unidentified anomalous phenomena. These files, hidden behind classifications, have long fueled justified speculation, and it's time the American people see it for themselves. This release of declassified documents demonstrates the Trump administration's earnest commitment to unprecedented transparency. So I really hope that this transparency continues and we start getting a lot more answers about like what these unidentified phenomena actually are, like what is controlling them, why do they move in such intelligent ways, can we tie it back to specific types of non-human intelligence? I mean, I'm sure that our government has a lot of information that has just not been declassified yet, and they're kind of doing a slow rollout so that there isn't this kind of ontological shock, or not nearly as much ontological shock as there would be if they just kind of released everything all at once and didn't prepare people. So yeah, I'm really excited for all of this. I've been waiting for this day to be coming for months now, and even for years before that, I have been interested in kind of the disclosure movement. So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of dig into this. So the first video that I want to briefly show, I'm not going to show the entire clips because some of them are a bit long, was a video of dual lights, or kind of twin lights that were moving as like orbs. And so these dual lights, where they were filmed in early 2026, so not long ago at all, by the Department of the Army aboard a U.S. military platform. What I find really interesting about this is that they kind of start out kind of like looking like you don't know what exactly you're seeing besides like a light, but then it is very clearly like two lights side by side. And this is something that a lot of experiencers have seen, is kind of like two lights traveling together. And I actually frequently see this as well. So when I am standing outside at night, I will see kind of two orbs coming from one direction. They are like completely parallel, like completely side by side, moving the exact same way. And when they kind of disappear, they disappear at the exact same time. It's not like one keeps going and one is gone. They're completely together and clearly moving together. And other times I'll see like kind of like these twin orbs or twin UAPs that will move from different directions. One will come from one way and another one will come from the other way. And as they're either about to quote hit, because they'll like either completely cross each other, they might change directions. So one might go turn 90 degrees, or they might both turn and then move together, or just one will turn and then start moving in the same direction as the other one. So yeah, it's really interesting that like kind of this dual UAP UFO orb phenomena was caught on video. It's just because so many of us have spoken about it, but it's not really been seen so much. And in this particular video, it kind of like looks like almost like glowing eyes or something, because of just like how defined and how clear and steady these two lights are. The second video that I'd like to show is just very standard orb. And I'll just like quickly show this one. This is an orb moving over in Iraqi city from west to east in 2022. And I wanted to just add that in because that's typically what we are seeing as experiencers and contactees most nights. It's just kind of like a little white spot, a little white ball of light that is just moving through. And I just really liked how it looked while it was moving over the city. And then my absolute favorite out of all of the videos that were released today. This is a UAP flying between windmills in 2024, and that was captured by the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command aboard a U.S. military platform. Um, and so, again, this is a very standard looking orb. It's what most of us see, just a little tiny white ball of light. But the reason that I'm including this, and I'm probably going to put in a a long part of the clip just because it is so beautiful. It looks absolutely majestic and gorgeous. And um, seeing the way that this orb was like intelligently like moving between like this field of windmills and then kind of turning and then going back around, and almost like it was like taking in the scenery and just loving being there. I don't know how else to put it. It was absolutely just beautiful. I would almost say that it belongs in like a Ridley Scott movie or something. But I wanted to share that today because I think a lot of people might not be focusing on it just because the orb itself is not kind of a standout object. But there was just like this such gorgeous piece of like almost like cinematic filmmaking that was made with like this capture that I wanted you to see it today. And then the last kind of video that I will touch on today is controversial. So even though this video just came out a few hours ago, people all over the internet are saying like this is an effective lens flare. Other people are saying like no, this is this type of deity or this type of object. But what I will be showing now is a UAP filmed in 2013 in the Middle East that resembles a quote 8-pointed star with arms of alternating length. So that's kind of like what was listed in the description. Um, so I'm on the fence. Because it's a UAP, I don't know what it is. I can't make any kind of assumptions about why it looks the way it looks, if it actually would have looked like that with the naked eye. But this 8-pointed star like light, some are saying that if you had actually seen it, and if you were there, like you could look out a window, you could look into the sky, and you would see these fractal like sharp rays of light coming off of kind of this object. And there are experiencers that have seen something like that themselves and have said that it's just as symmetrical, it's just as interesting and gorgeous looking as kind of like what was shown in this video. Um, but then other people that are familiar with using FLIR cameras, they're saying that this particular video is like a great example of like flare. Like so, if a FLIR camera is picking up on just a really bright light, it's going to just show like the rays of light coming off in like this like really pointed way and symmetrical way, and so it's not anything because of the points that's really stand out, that's unique. So I'm not going to get into the validity of what's being seen, what's being shown, just because all of these videos just came out. So we don't have time to, or at this point, to know whether something was just a light, just a steady ball of like that's an orb, or if there was manipulation going on with any of these videos. If I'm sure people are going to be running these videos through a lot of AI software over the coming days, and trying to figure out, well, was any of this just made up by the government, or were certain objects that were shown, were they just standard like balloons that you might get at a party store, or are they weather balloons, or I mean, or are they birds? Or there's like a lot of different explanations for why something can look strange and orb-like on a kind of military recording system, but then you come to find out that it's actually quite normal. So I'm sure at least some of these videos will be debunked soon, but I wanted to share the ones that really stood out in my mind as looking interesting and again, cinematic with that windmill video, and the one that everybody is kind of just like talking about, because I'm sure it'll probably be all over social media, it'll be all over the news. Um, yeah, so if you didn't have the time or the inclination to kind of dig through all the different videos, a lot of the other videos that I'm not sharing were just kind of like the standard orbs that were flying over the ocean, or you just see the clouds going by behind them, or there was like one that was kind of like the cigar kind of barrel-shaped UAP, and in the footage it just kind of like looked like a black blog almost. So you have that going on. Then there were some kind of objects that were just oddly shaped, like where it would have um, like just a center mass that had like one fin or wing that came straight up, and then two that came down. There were a few videos of like what looked like an orb or some type of object where it had just like one rod or one solid piece that was hanging down underneath it, and those might be the ones that people kind of claim are balloons or some type of like actual machinery, just because it looks so strange and not what you would normally think of for a UAP or a UFO. Um, yeah, so I hope you enjoyed seeing all of these today, and I will be back on here with more updates if there's anything really substantial that comes out of the PDFs, or if more releases are coming out like really soon. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.